This is Andrew Twidwell, owner of ABT Plumbing, Electric, Heat and Air. Once again with You Got This, the show of DIY do's and don'ts. I'm talking to Rosalie Brown, my co-host. We're zooming in and here to talk about some fall projects because it is October still. And the weather's changing, the seasons are changing. We should remind everybody though, it is still October. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're trying to do our part, and we're helping support the Barbara Schmidt-Millar program. Foundation, rather. Is it foundation?
I think it's fund. Actually, I think it's fund. Yeah.
Thank you. And we're donating a portion of all our profits this month to that program fund, and they help out with mammograms and making sure people have access to such things. And I'm fumbling on this. Maybe you can help me with this because you know more about foundations than I do.
So it's really simple. Actually, the cool thing about them is, I mean, the tough thing is that because of COVID this year, their big triathlon that raises a lot of money for them was not able to happen. So we, as an organization, are asking you to partner up with us and do what you would normally do, have a service or repair or anything you need that has to do with plumbing, electrical, or HVAC. We come in, get your problem solved, professional experience, and awesome as always. But a portion of that is going to go to the check we write to support this amazing program. And the reason it's important is because a lot of people that would benefit from cancer screening, especially primarily for breast cancer, do not actually either have the insurance to do it or don't have access for one reason or another. And so this program is meant to guarantee and make easy access for people in Nevada County to go ahead and get screened. So that in a nutshell is why we chose this amazing nonprofit to support this month, and we are really proud to do it. You'll see us talking about it throughout the entire month on the ABT page and the You Got This page, I'm sure. So that is what that's about. Now, I feel like we can transition, segue into the next thing.
Well, I just wanted to say one more thing because we partnered up with one of our vendors who supply us with our floor protector shoe covers, and we bought a bunch of pink ones when they're taking a portion of those proceeds. It was the same cost to us, but they're taking those proceeds and giving a breast cancer awareness program. They're also, every time we take a picture and tag it with a certain tagline on social media, they're giving $1. So, if we're in your house and we're taking pictures of our pink shoe covers and our guys haven't explained it to you, hopefully they will, you'll have an idea. We're just trying to bring awareness out to breast cancer research and breast cancer awareness and do our little part. So our next segue, so what's going on? Things are crazy. We're in an election cycle, COVID.
So the election cycle,
fire season.
I just want to talk about the election cycle for a minute, but not how you think I'm going to. So there was ABT newsletter that went into inboxes, and by this time probably mailboxes this month. And we actually took a step back and we were kind of debating, no pun intended, if we should send you yet another thing to clog up your, communication right now in an election cycle. The closer you get to election, it is just inbox, email. It's crazy. But we did want to share, we've kind of come to the tradition now of trying to share some DIY things with you so that you might actually not have to call ABT. And I know that sounds really crazy, like what business is giving away information to try to help you with DIY, which, although that's kind of why we started this, although sometimes, I don't know if we always make the mark, but
we do our best.
The point of it was to really make sure that we're delivering something to you that if you can not have to call a professional to solve your problem, if there are safe ways for you to try to tackle it first, we wanted to be sure that we share that. We also wanted to get the word out again about this breast cancer awareness program that we're trying to participate in. And so if you did receive that, fantastic. I apologize if it was one more thing in your mailbox. If you're interested in signing up for future newsletters, you can get those in your inbox very easily if you go to easyasabt.com and visit the newsletter tab. You can easily put in your email address. We do not share that. We do not spam you. It's just for the newsletter communication. If there were something that was of vital importance or safety issue, I mean, who knows, 2020 has been insane. You might get an additional email once in a while, but for the most part, this is not, we're not going to clog up your inbox. And I just wanted to say that because you and I kind of were like, do we send the October newsletter?
It's rough. Yeah.
It was hard to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we did. And, but yeah, again, there are things that we try to share here that most homeowners can take care of. And it's really hard when we go out and have to flip a switch or have to push a button and have to charge a client for it. It doesn't make us feel good. So if we want to empower you guys as a whole to be able to take care of those minor things, and depending on your skill level, you can potentially take care of some of the more difficult things. Yeah, but it is a saying in our industry, yeah, go ahead and try to fix it. It only gets more expensive when you try to fix it, if we have to come and fix it up. That's true sometimes, but I'll tell you the majority of times it's not. Majority of times when somebody's trying to fix things, it can actually save them a little bit of money. And the reality is a lot of times we don't hear from them because they've already fixed it. So if you got a 75% chance of getting it right, give it a shot. You know, as long as it's not electrical, as long as you're not opening up an electrical panel, you're probably not going to hurt yourself. If you're not dealing with gas, you probably won't hurt yourself. Plumbing, it can do a lot of damage, but if you're not working with water lines that are coming in, if it's just drain lines, just don't use that area and you won't have any floods. So yeah, anyway, I digress. Said a little too much, but anyway, so we got a good show. We've got a bunch of things. Since it is October, we're trying to go through lists of things that people can do around their homes to help avoid seeing a plumber, to help avoid seeing a handyman, to help avoid seeing a concrete guy, a planner, or a landscaper,
or exterminator.
Or exterminator. Gosh, the exterminator. That's a big one, especially where we live, because we got a lot of little critters around us. So yeah, we shared a bunch of things last show. If you didn't hear about it, go back and you can listen to it. My first topic on this one. This is a really easy one. We've actually got a video on this on our site, and we've gone into some great detail of how to do this. But flush your water heater. It's amazing. It's so simple, and it's one of those things that, depending on what your water source is, a lot of people have wells. It's amazing how much crud we can find on the bottom of a water heater. We've taken water heater, we've removed or replaced water heaters that have been in somebody's home, and we've literally found that their water heater is about 25 to 35% full of sediment. The thing weighs a ton. And what does that do? Well, it decreases the amount of hot water you have, but one of the really bad things that it does is it insulates the water from the heat. So you spend a whole bunch of money trying to heat up that water because it's having to work its way around this blanket of rock, essentially. And where does that rock come from? It comes from our water. We have calcium and magnesium in a lot of our well water. That water, when it goes into a water heater, the molecules get all excited because they're getting hot, and that rock literally drops out of solution and falls to the bottom of the water heater and builds this nice little layer of stone, and insulates the flame from the water, and it can cost you a lot of money. To help eliminate that every year, it's not a bad idea. Again, depending on your water source, and depending on if you got a water softener, all you do is hook up a hose to the drain on the bottom of the water heater. I say drain, don't drain your water heater. Hook up a hose to the bottom of your water heater. It's usually all the water heaters we've been putting in for like the last 20 years have an actual hose bib type thing. So they're really simple now. Hook it up, run it to some place where it's not going to do, hot water won't do any damage out in your yard. Don't put it on your lawn. Don't put it on your petunias. Don't put it on any bulbs or anything. Run it outside and simply turn the water on. Let it run for 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, you're going to have to heat up a little bit more water. Yeah, you're going to lose some water, but it's a maintenance thing that will save you a ton of money down the line. So
but you don't even have to turn off the pilot to do that.
Don't do anything. Just hook it up. Don't touch the gas valve. Don't touch the water lines. Just let it run. Some sites will recommend draining the water heater. I don't say drain the water heater because a couple things can happen. You may turn the gas on before it completely fills up, and that's not good.
Right.
Or you may turn the electricity on if you got an electrical water heater, and that's really bad. That top element may not even be underwater, and that thing just fries in a second if it doesn't have water around it. And so now all of a sudden you got to call a plumber out to change the element, and that's not a cheap thing. You're talking hundreds of dollars, not $50. It's not cheap. So don't drain your water heater, flush your water heater. And the way a water heater is designed is it literally has a pipe that goes, the cold water goes to the bottom of the water heater. There's a tube that takes the water down to the bottom because water stratifies inside that tank. So by simply running the water, it stirs all the crud up on the bottom of the water heater and flushes it out. 5 or 10 minutes every year, just do it. Another big one, dryer vent. This is one of those things I see so many times, and unfortunately I see a lot of times where people don't even have a dryer vent. We're underneath the house and everything's covered in lint. I've had some scary instances where I've been soldering in those areas, and in my younger years, I'm 53 now, but in my 20s, I was, you're 20 years old, you're not really too worried about things. The flame licks the lint, and it literally just ignites, and it's like this scary, it's like a grass fire going across. You can kind of picture just that glow on the front line, and it will travel throughout your crawl space. It's terrifying. Run a good dryer vent outside. But one of the other problems is now all of a sudden the vent is contained, or the dryer lint is contained, and it will clog the inside of the dryer vent. I've got my cousin's a fireman down in San Francisco, and we've talked about this subject before. He sees it all the time. He literally sees houses burning down because of dryer vents. So check it out yearly, clean it out yearly. You can get a little 4-inch plastic and metal brush at any of the hardware stores, like $10 or something. Just clean it out or replace it. If it's a corrugated plastic one, just replace it. They're cheap. Number 3, this one I found kind of interesting. I don't have any carpets in my home, but I did have carpets in my last place, and it's a really good time of year to clean your carpets if you haven't already done it. You're going to be spending more time indoors, so you want to get rid of all the pollens and all the lint and all the crud, if you've got pets, all the dander and stuff. It also makes your carpets last longer. I've got friends who have carpet cleaning companies, and if you're not consistently cleaning your carpet, that warranty you got from the manufacturer, it's null and void if you're not cleaning your carpets twice a year. So clean those carpets. It's going to make and then why do they do that? Because it lasts longer. The debris that gets into the nap of the base of the carpet, it'll start to degrade the material that's used to bind the fibers. So clean the carpet, you're going to be happier in your house, and your carpet's going to be happier. And you can do that yourself. You can rent a rug doctor, or have somebody come in. For the hassle and the cost that it costs to have a professional come in, I'd recommend having somebody come in, because it's going to take you half a day if you go out, rent the equipment, do it yourself. Whereas a professional come in and get it done in a couple hours and cost you a couple $100. Well worth it. Now this, I'm going to talk a lot about having people come in. The next one, this is really important, guys. If you've got a gas furnace, have somebody come in and check it. Do a safety inspection on it. We do a really cheap one. We're trying to save people from carbon monoxide poisoning. We're trying to make sure that, and carbon monoxide poisoning and fires. We come out and give a thorough safety inspection of the system, make sure that you don't have a cracked heat exchanger, you're not getting carbon monoxide in the house, making sure the flames aren't going where they're not supposed to, making sure we contain the fire and put it and make it go through the flue in the right way, make sure everything's working the right way. So it'll make sure that it's safe, but also while we're there, their studies have been shown, you can just check it out on the internet, I'm not just making this stuff up, you'll actually save money by having your furnace checked out, because we'll go and make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. During the winter, you can spend a pretty penny on heating your home. It's one of the biggest uses of gas during the winter if you've got a gas furnace, and biggest uses of electricity if you've got an electric furnace. So taking care of it can literally save you money. I mean, we do it for $79. It's nothing. But we can catch things like cracked heat exchangers, which can mean the fire inside the heat exchanger has a way of getting into the home air, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So have your furnace inspected. The other thing is change the filter. It's that time of year. Actually, it's that time of the month. Check it every month. Again, just trying to save you money and trying to save you hassle and trying to protect your equipment. One of the main killers of furnaces and air conditioning is heat. I know it's weird because that's what we're trying to do, but it's literally things getting too hot. One of the main reasons we see things getting too hot is because it gets dirty. Why does it get dirty? Because people aren't changing their filters, and the heat, the filter, the debris and dust and stuff gets stuck inside the heat exchanger, gets stuck inside the coil for our air conditioner, and causes things to overheat, causes things to breach, heat exchangers crack, coils leak, those sort of things. Change your filter. It's cheap insurance. It's like not changing the filter in your car. You're going to notice a lower miles per gallon, and you're going to notice a lot more repairs if you're not doing it. So change that filter. It's really inexpensive. This is a simple one that you guys can do out in the field or at your house. Cover your air conditioner. I can't tell you how many times I got to somebody's homes on a safety inspection and we find a ton of leaves and pine needles inside the compressor. If you can, during the wintertime, if you can just go buy a piece of plywood, cut it to the dimensions of the top of your condenser outside, just put it on top. That's all you got to do. You can cover it in a tarp. Don't recommend covering in a tarp because now you've made a really nice place for rodents to live. So, and we don't want to have rodents inside of our condenser because they tend to eat wires, eat insulation. And I've found them in contactors. I've found them in all kinds of weird spots they climb into. They like heat, they like warm places. So yeah, just put a piece of plywood, keeps the debris out. Keeps the water's not a big deal, but the debris can be really bad. So you can even, if you take dimensions, you can even have the hardware store cut it. They've got panel saws and they cut it really easily. So cover your air conditioner outside. Number 7, this is a biggie. We do a lot of people have wood heat up here. A lot of people use wood heat. Can't tell you how many times I've seen people, I've talked to people that have never cleaned their chimney or forgot to do it in like 3 or 4 seasons. Get the chimney swept. If you're not comfortable climbing up on the roof and doing it yourself, hire somebody. I used to do it myself. I stopped doing it because, you know, as you get older, you get a little more fearful of death and, you know, falling off of things. Again, it's what, you know, I know I keep saying, oh, it's just cheap. It's just a couple $100 and not everybody can afford it. But you own a home, they say, you know, you're going to spend 1% annually of the cost of your home on maintaining your house. So just kind of chalk that up as maintenance. Hire somebody to come out and do it. You'll save yourself from falling off a ladder and hurting yourself. They're also going to do a much better job and be able to find problems that you may not be able to see because that's what they do day in and day out. Not a service we provide. There's some great guys up here. There's a lot of companies up here that do a fantastic job. They literally leave it spotless, and they'll catch scary stuff. You know, again, we want to keep fire in its place, whether it's a furnace or it's a fireplace. We want fire to be where it's supposed to and not where it's not, because it can contaminate your household with carbon monoxide. Nasty stuff. Have your fireplace and chimney swept. You got anything on that? Any good stories on that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking about, yeah, I mean, I guess I do actually. I didn't, I had my chimney cleaned, and then the guy didn't actually mention to me the position that the flue was in, and so I just figured that
the damper was closed. Or,
yeah, I just figured he was a professional. So you know, I went to light a fire at a 20. I only used a fire when I lived up in the mountains for when, like, you know, we had a power outage. I'm not one that likes to sit there and stoke the fire. It just wasn't my thing. So I would only use it when I needed to. And so, of course, I needed to at this point because we were out of power. I think that was like a 7-dayer or something.
Yeah.
So I went and got this thing going, and then it didn't take long before my house was filled up with the most horrible smoke ever. And of course, I had to open everything up, and it was freezing cold.
Cool the house. Yeah.
It was a snow event, so the house was freezing, but I had to keep it open to get the smoke out. So I guess just whatever you might think I would do, don't do what I would do, because I always do the wrong thing first, and I correct.
You learn things, and I have one too.
I I have a degree, a master's level degree in course correction. There's no other way to say it. So just be mindful of anything with fire. It needs to be ventilated properly. That's always a good rule, no matter if you're talking about your HVAC, your fireplace, your wood stove. Let's just assume we need to know what's,
and
going
your
on.
gas dryer.
Fire. Yeah.
Keep fire in its place. I do have one where when we first moved up here 20 years ago, we had a wood stove. We're gonna heat our house with wood, right? Because we live in the mountains, right? I'm a city boy. I grew up in the Mission District on a 6-lane street. I kind of had an idea, I'm a technician. I kind of know stuff, but I found this log at B&C that's supposed to clean your flue. So I bought a couple of those and I just started using those. We had a chimney fire. It was not good. Those things do not work, and they may have gotten better. I know this is 20 years ago, so take that with a grain of salt. But there's nothing like a mechanical cleaning of the flue. The bad thing or the good thing, not really sure how to do it. I wasn't home. I was at work at the time when the fire started, and my wife and our two young children were there at the time. And the fire department came, and who was there? But one of the people that my wife grew up with, Tommy, who happened to live here, and she hadn't seen him yet, didn't know he was living up here. So she got the double embarrassment of having calling a fire department and actually having grown up with the guy in the Bay Area. So go figure.
Well, let's be clear. It wasn't her fault. It was her husband Andrew's fault. So she did get to say, she got to say that part.
Oh yeah.
Although I forgot. I think I shared this last year at this time. I was up in Nevada County house sitting, and we a wood stove, and there were some problems, and so my friend asked me to go on top of the roof and actually bang the crud on the top of the thing. And
the
so
spark arrestor.
Yeah, she actually took pictures, I think, and I'm up there like holding on, and it was one of the dumbest thing I did that month. And it was really weird because the roof was like super, I mean, the pitch was incredible. So it was very adventurous, and I knocked some of the stuff off. But I'll tell you what, if I had thought about it, I would have said, you know what, I'm sure there's someone we can call for this, because the levels of unsafeness throughout this entire process are pretty much. So it was
that's why we call it the show DIY do's and don'ts.
I
learn from us. We've done it.
It was so stupid.
If there's a wrong way to do it, we've probably done it. Don't do it that way.
So stupid. Please don't climb up on top of your pitch roof and hit something to get soot off of it. That's not the proper way.
No, and roofs are dangerous. Roofs are bad news. Too many friends that have fallen off. Too many. Yeah. Anyway, with that was a good show. So once again, if you've got a plumbing, electrical, heating, or air problem, give us a call, 530-272-9120, 530-272-9120. And also, just a reminder, we're doing, it's breast cancer awareness, and we're donating a portion of all our profits to the Barbara Schmidt-Millar program. And you may see our guys, if you happen to call us, they'll be wearing pink booties and taking pictures, because we're also working with our vendor to make sure to get a second donation from them. And if you want to hear our show, we've got them archived on our website at Easy as ABT, and also on Facebook, and also our You Got This website. And if you want to see more of this content, go to our website, go to our Facebook page, and we got tons there. And you can see us on the YouTube. We're YouTube stars now. Anyway, with that, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week. Take care.